I'm coming on. Let me. All right. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, sir. We can see your screen, sir.
Okay, you can see my. I've shared before.
Yeah, I can see your screen now.
Okay. All right. So let me take this off. So we'll still do a little bit of formatting, then move over to. I was typing this thing, so we can easily because it's many, and to I don't want you all to be seeing me while I type them. So now let's, like the other day, we were able to establish that a workbook is composed of worksheets, just the way we have a booklet and we have sheets inside them. So I'll create a sheet now. Do we have any question from our previous class so that we handle that before we move? Having the best setup.
Well,
So now,
let's explain a little bit to us.
is it I should,
Just like just a little revision on it.
okay. I think
I said
last
just
time,
a little.
yeah, yeah, I've gotten you. Last time we simply introduced all the tabs on the home screen. Then I think we did we just generated a little graphics and a little data and tried to. I can't really remember what we did that day. I introduced the interface generally. Then there was an illustration we did. I don't know if anyone. Let me check our charts. Maybe our charts will remind me of what we did then. So we used
You
the
said we should highlight.
yeah. Let me just go to it. Okay. Okay. So I think I treated the format, how to format numbers. Then that was one, and we did these graphics. So basically, what we did the other day, I don't think I'll be introducing all these. This place is called Ribbon. Then that's this place. We have our tabs. This is the home tab. Each of them, like if you come to home tab, it's going to give you a lot of functionalities that are related to this home tab. You move to insert. It will give you some controls that will allow you to insert or embed some stuff. Then draw is when you want to draw with your this thing. I think it's just basically what this place is. Then we have our quick access bar, which is more like hidden. Can bring it up here. Then I think generally that was what we did. As we go on today, we'll just be introducing them. Let's not just. So now that last time we talked about formatting, but that was the formatting number. And again, okay, we have seen this. We did a kind of graphics where we had something like months and our projected sales. So I think we kind of assumed that maybe we want to launch a marketing campaign and on month January, if we are having if our sales is let's say 35 and we are proposing that January, if we are proposing that with the marketing, we are going to have 10% growth for each month. I also demonstrated this stuff, which is kind of dragging from this. If you drag from this square, it's gonna fill. If you have something that looks like something that is sequential, it's gonna fill the same way I did that. And also, you can also do it this way. It will also auto fill. I think those are some of the things I explained last time. So now that I've filled this, I'm assuming that like it's an assumption, not like so we're assuming that if we do a campaign, a marketing campaign, and we are selling let's say our sales for January we make uh let's say $30,000 or naira. Then, and we're expecting that for each month with our continuous marketing, we are going to be having a 5% or 7% increase in our sales with the marketing. You can do this by, let's say you want to fill this. This is 35, and we are going to highlight all of these. Most times, this is more like I'm trying to do the assignment for you. Let me not do it. So do it. You were in the class. Do it. You are in the class, because if I do it, I'm more like going to do exactly what I asked you to do. So that was what we discussed last time. And I showed you how to convert this to a table. Once you highlight them, come to insert, highlight table, and say okay. It's gonna convert it to a table. I showed you how to, once you have a table, you click any cell on table. It's going to give you this table control or table design, where you now choose, maybe you want to have total row. It will total everything together. You want to give a special formatting to the. So these are some of the things we did. I'm not trying to go over them. I just showed you this one so you know how to generate what's it called. So we wrote something like small formula. This one we said we can write a formula by starting with equals. Once we say equals, we do what? This is C3 multiplied by that our 0.07%. So this 0.07, sorry, no, multiplied by 0.07. 0.07.
Please, sir, is it C3 or C4?
That's C3 plus C. We are on C. Okay, don't worry. We are entering. We treat formulas. How to write formulas today.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is C4. We are on C4, but we are writing a formula for C that is referencing C3.
Okay.
Hmm. So that was how this is. If this gives us that 7% increase, we can drag down to fill it up. So this gives us a 7% increase. Is that really what it is supposed to be? So with this now you can visualize, because we started at $30,000. By the
Sir,
end of, yeah,
hello, sir. You are doing
I hear
0.07.
you. Hello?
You did 0.7 instead of 0.07.
I can't hear you again.
Hello?
Okay, I can hear you now.
I said you did 0.7 instead of 0.07. You are
Okay,
saying
okay,
7.
okay. Yeah, because the number is growing, the growth is large. Thank you. So with this now, yeah, I think the formula is now fine. Yeah, thank you. I was now doing 70% increase. So with this, we have this is now recalculated, but that's not exactly what we'll be doing today. I'm just trying to give you a hint to what we did, which is why I'm not doing them very well. So today we said we'll move on into other stuff. So this was how we got this, and with this now you can still select from this table. There were so many other things we did, such as formatting. Like now, if I want to format this is just number. If I want to format all of this, I can highlight all of them, come back to home, and now move into this and select. I want to format it as accounting. So with that, it's now formatted as accounting. But because we don't have enough room, we can double click on this boundary to expand. Otherwise, you can also click and drag to expand. So this way we are having $30, $32, and that's 50% increase. The other formatting we explained the other day, which included time and text and the rest of them. So you can watch the video and also do your assignment. So if you want to now make a graphic, if you want to visualize this, you can just highlight all of them, then insert. From this insert, you're going to insert a recommended chart. So I can do this to give me that. This was the chart we did. So with this, I think I've been able to solve the assignment I gave, just that the figures I gave was not exactly what I'm using. So let's move over to business, today's business. So today I wanted us to still continue on this formatting. And with that, I'm going to, we just did this. We just converted this to a table and it gave us what we wanted. So now I'm going to, now the first thing I want to, not this, I want to start somewhere. We can select this sheet. If you want to rename this sheet, double click this sheet or right click it. You can right click and say rename, then give it a name. I'm going to say unformatted for this, enter. Then I still need a sheet which is going to be formatted. I'm going to say formatted here. Now that we have two sheets, one is unformatted, the other one is formatted. I'm sorry, I'm coming. Let me fix. I did the best. I'm coming. So now that we have this, if you want to so if you want to select two this thing together, if you want to work on, there's something we call grouping, where you group two. Let's say you want to, how is this now? I'm coming. Let's say you want to work on these two sheets, that's unformatted and formatted together. Maybe you want to form a structure and you want them to be exactly the same thing. What you can do is to click on one, hold down your control key or shift key. Or maybe I want to work on the three of them. If I hold down the shift key and select the last one, it's going to, all of them are selected. And once you do that, you see lesson two, because this is the lesson two booklet, you see group. So this way, what it's telling us is whatever I'm doing to these sheets, I'm also doing to the three of them, but we are not going to work with the three of them simultaneously. What I just want to work with is these two. So I'm going to hold down Control key and select these two. With this now, if I enter maybe, because I want to create a table. Inside this table, I want to have, what do we want to have? I want to have, do I have quarters? Okay, let's say we want to record our sales for, possibly we want to have East for the first quarter, quarter one, quarter two, quarter three, quarter four. That's for the 4 quarters in a year. And we want to record for, let's say we have a business in North. Nope. Let's say we have a business in North. And we have one in South. We have one in East and West. So what I'm doing to this sheet, I'm equally doing to the two of them because I've grouped them together. That's what I'm just trying to point out. So because I've highlighted these two sheets, whatever I'm doing here, I'm also doing here. So now, if we start entering our values, let's say for the first quarter one, we measured our sales and we had 78,900. And we had maybe 71200. We can also have 86, and we just randomly we have some random figures here again. I'm really not measuring anything. I just want to show you how to format, not using a table like we normally do. Okay, so now we have these two, we have this formatted and unformatted. So if I click away to deactivate this grouping, you have to click away, you have to click on some other sheets. So now, if you check on unformatted, we have exactly this data, and we check formatted, we also have exactly this data. So I'm going to be formatting this one and reference this. So you see the changes and also see how to format. If you want to format this, normally to select two ranges, you select this, then hold down your control key and select another range. So this we have been able to select this and also select this. So if you want to format, you come back to home. It's pretty intuitive. If you've been working with Microsoft Word, you should be able to do most of these stuff. So this converts it to bold, but you can also do Control B to have that. Then maybe if you want to have italic, you can use this to have italic. Those ones that are selected are the ones that is affecting. If you want to underline them, use underline to underline them, but that's not, I don't want that. So I'm going to Control Z for the underline. Now, for the font color, this one is the font color, and this is the fill color. So what fill color does for you is it colors the background where you have your text. So for the fill color, you can select this drop down list and pick any color you want. For me, I would like to pick a light color, and the background, I would like to color the background with a dim, no, that's the fill. Fill is the background. So for the background, I like to still select something within that range. I have this like this. So this way, we've given background color to our headings, and we can also move further. Our numbers, this ones here, we were mentioning dollar, so we can go ahead and format them as dollar. That's as currency. So it's now making a little sense. And also, uh, maybe here want to give a name to it. So we can simply come here, do what? Say annual sales reports. You can say annual, that should, I don't know if it's double annual sales reports. So with this now, having been, I also had the annual sales reports here. We'll have something like this. Annual sales reports. So if you look at these two data, this one that is not formatted and this one that is formatted, you see they are not exactly the same. Like this one is very, very readable. It's easier for anyone to look at this and make sense out of it. And for this could be not like it's not correct. It's exactly the same data, but this one is kind of appealing to the eye, which is what you want to do whenever you are working with Excel. So to join these cells together, because I can't have this like this. If I want to join the cells together, what I want is this annual sales reports to be the heading. I have to do what? Select all these cells by clicking and dragging. Then I'll come to this place that says merge. I'm still on the home tab. You see one that says mesh and center, merge across, merge cells, etc. So you want to do this so that it will merge it and also move this to the center. So doing this moves it to the center and it's now making a little more sense. Maybe I also want to give it a title, or maybe I want to give it a color, or probably change the font this typeface. I can come down to, I think I used to like, this looks nice for that. So we can have something that looks like this, and someone looking at it sees that this is well formatted and it conveys the message you want it to convey, as against this one that is unformatted. So I don't know if we are following what we are doing. These two data are exactly the same, but one is looking neater, the other one is not. The way to the way to become a very the way to become very good with all these stuff is for you to attempt doing them. You have to attempt them to get busy. What are you looking for? You have to attempt them on your own to get really good with them. But they are not
Okay,
difficult.
hello, sir. I
Yeah,
want to ask you. So, what you mean now is from this example, formatted and unformatted. So, you mean the formatted ones are the ones you edited, like you added colors and then you try to align the cells and the rows, right?
yeah, that's
While
exactly
the
what it is.
unformatted is the one that you did not highlight, like
Yeah,
the ones you did not. Okay, okay,
yeah.
okay.
So they're exactly the same thing. This one that I said unformatted is a sheet. I entered exactly the same data in them. But you know, if you're going to present a report to maybe your manager or whoever is interested in your report or whatever you want to propose, you present this and I present this. I think even if I present it to you, you are going to like this much more than this. The data is not wrong, it's correct, but this one is more visually appealing. It has the visual appeal. So those are, because I can't possibly show you all the options you have in formatting. If you want to also do more, like we basically have what we need here, you can also expand this. I showed you the other day. Once you select this column, this row, come to the boundary, drag this down just in case you want it to be bigger than what it is. You can drag this down to still have more rooms. And of course, the visual appeal is coming out the more. Maybe you don't like this the way it is. You can also still select all these ones. And because someone might want this to be centered, like they should just be on the center, you can select this and click on this button to have more settings. This arrow that points down. So once you click on that, it's going to give you more options where you now have, maybe you still want to work on the fonts. It gives you more options for fonts. You want to work on the fill. The fill is exactly what we did. That's filling the background. And let's say on this stuff, what's it called? You can come to alignments. On alignments, horizontal means aligning this horizontal, and I want to horizontally align them. Then vertical means you want to either keep them vertically. If you center it vertically, like it's on the bottom, if I center vertically and say okay, you see it moves to the center vertically. You can still come back here and do more stuffs. Uh, you can do more stuffs. You see, this is not aligned horizontally, it's not aligned to the center. Maybe you still want to have that centering horizontally because we have space here. If you align it horizontally, if you center it horizontally, that means we are going to distribute the space outside your text evenly. So here we can just center it horizontally. No? Okay, we can still center again and say, okay. because you don't have that option. So it moves it to the center, and the visual appeal is coming out the more. Yeah, let's also say you want to label anything here. You can label some stuff here. Maybe before labeling that, you have to merge this and type. Yeah, we can just say vertical, and maybe I want to have this stuff. The one I typed vertical. Maybe I want to type have it. It should be like this. I want to have it reading upwards or downwards, just the way this one is reading. You have to still come back to this place. We have alignments. Once the cell is selected, but before you do anything, you have to be sure that cell you want to affect is selected. So like now this is selected, you have to still come back to this arrow that points downwards and now change the orientation. So when we talk of orientation, we are talking of where it's pointing. So you can come to the orientation and work on the orientation. That's not you have to come to the orientation and work on the orientation. This is not what I want. This actually gives you that control, but there's another way of working on that orientation, which is not okay. So from this orientation, you can choose that you want it to point upwards. You can try out any like this one now, which this is going to read vertical, that's V coming down. This one is going to, and this is the one I want. So this way you've been able to point it this way. Like you have a lot of options. It's not enough. Like clicking this, you find out that the orientation option gives you the room to now decide the angle you want it to point. You can say it should point at angle 90. That was not that. So you can say you want it to point at angle 90 for the orientation. I'm coming. Can you hear me? Hello,
Yes, sir.
yeah. So you can just go like there are a lot of things you can do with that. You can say angle 90 and say okay, or give it like with this now. You now control maybe you want it at a 7%, it's set 7 degree. As you're doing it, this one that points clockwise, we kind of show you how the text is going to look. So this is if you want to have more control. That's just that. I don't want that. I think this is good the way it is. We can also change the like comic. That was comic. So, but you get the idea. You can put whatever you want there. It's and format it however you want it to look. So, looking at this formatted and unformatted data, I don't know if you guys are seeing this. My default mic stuff. So, looking at these two data, you find out that this one, even without doing any visualization, this one looks visually appealing and it's easier to explain to anyone than having this one that is unformatted, although they're exactly the same data. This one does not tell us if we are measuring money or we are measuring the number of cells. This one does not center anything or give us any beautiful look. Whereas this one, once you look at this, you know we are talking about how much we are able to sell for the first quarter, for the second quarter, for the third quarter, for the fourth quarter, and for quarter one. This is this. So you can easily tell from this data. So let's move on and do another stuff, which is conditional formatting. So the idea of conditional formatting, that was why I had this, is where you format based on certain conditions. You format your text based on certain conditions. Once a condition is satisfied, you apply your formatting. Like here, I have this as name, and this is where we'll be writing a little formula. But before going into that, let me do just one stuff. I want to say, let's say we still have let's have okay, let's see format that's our let's use this one now. So now I don't know, let's say our average, we want to find out the average of all of these. what we'll do is to say equals, if you know how to write our formulas, we are going to say equals average of all of this, all the data we have in this range, and we close that, right? So at average, what we have is 56,000. This is 6.6. Now this is on cell G11, right? So let's say anything that anywhere, or let's take an average. Sorry, let me take an average for not all of them. For the first quarter, let's say for the first quarter, I want to take the average for just the first quarter. And so I'm taking the average of this first quarter. So what I want to do, of course, this G11 is that I want to conditionally format this. So I will click on conditional formatting and say, but before that, and say anything less than, we are going to say anything less than highlights. I'm coming. So I'm going to highlight where I want to format and say format this for anything less than, whatever we have anything less than, I'm going to say the value we have in our G11 and say okay. Nope, nope, nope. I'm coming. Someone was trying to say something. I'm not, this data is really not giving me what's. This is where we are supposed to write our formula. I'm coming. I'm thinking of a data that is going to give us exactly what I want to illustrate. We are coming back to what I'm trying to do, but that data is not giving me exactly what I wanted to illustrate. So now, when we talk of conditional formatting, like when you click on this conditional formatting, we are going to have a lot of options. One says highlight cells rules. So any cell that is greater than some rules, less than some rules, that falls between a range that is equal to some stuff that contains a text that is equal to something or date occurring or whatever, to apply our formatting. Then we have this other one that says select, that's highlight the top 10 items. So if we have a lot of lists and we just want it to highlight or to color or to format the first 10 items in some ways, we are going to use this option. The top 10
You do this guest level.
etc.
Sure.
Someone is
Sure.
someone's mic is on. Please, you can just help us and take it down. So that's for conditional formatting, but I'm still looking for a data that will do exactly what we need. So here, I think I've come up with one. We can say, let's say, we are going to take a list and call that list some stuffs. Okay, let's say we are doing a project, and our projects, let's say project list. We have a project list, and inside that project list, we have a project name. We have project name and stage, completion stage. I think this is good. Completion stage. If we have project name, stage and completion stage, maybe here we can say which projects. Just help me and give me some projects. Sorry. We want to track our project and their completion stage. Can you help me and give me some projects? Let's come up now. I want you guys to be part of the class. I think I should wipe. Okay. Yeah, let me clear this and start. So, project name. You said building, right? Stage. Okay, so you said building. You said building. So let's say this our building is on 50%. The completion stage is 50%, right? Which other one? Come up with that. I need 10 projects. Okay, so here we can say renovation. Renovation.
Water system or borehole.
Okay, water system. It doesn't matter what they are. So what completion stage? We can say this one is on 70%, right? Which other one can we just come up? Like if someone is telling me one, another person can be thinking of another.
Road, landscaping.
Okay, roads should be at 80%.
Landscaping.
And landscaping.
Mall.
Okay, this should be at maybe 30%. You said which other one, sir?
Mall.
Mall,
Like a
like
shopping
this.
mall. Shopping mall.
Okay, so that should be MU, right?
MALL.
Okay, MALL.
Shopping mall.
So yeah. So with this, we can say this is at 80%. Then which other one? We can say sports. Whatever. You can assign it 50%.
Transportation.
Okay, transportation.
Maybe like buying of buses.
Okay. So we can say this at 20%. How many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Maybe
we can
health.
have health care. So our health care is at 90%, and we have welfare.
Maybe NGO.
Okay, welfare is at 95%, and we have NGO. I don't know if it's up to 10. NGO should be at 75%. 75%. So here with this, we want to highlight those ones that are still below. The ones that are still below. We want to highlight the ones that are still below 50%. So what do? We select all of these and highlight our conditional formatting. I think this is a good data to do what we wanted to do. So with this data, we can do our data bar. So this data bar is going to tell us the level of our distance. So this data bar, like inside our data bar, we can visualize. We can do this. Comment. So looking at this, instead of plotting our normal graph, like having our data separately and having our formatting separately, having our, what's it called, visualization separately, we can visualize, we can format according to, because this one is at 50%, it's going to give us 50%. This one is at 70%, it's going to give us, like, we have these bars indicating the stages of all of these projects. So that's for conditional formatting. You can choose any other color you want. Maybe we'll come back to this again. And under this, like you can just choose any color you want. Just make enough room for it. The data tells you exactly what it is, right? Within your distance. So that's what conditional formatting does for us. We can take this out and have another kind of formatting again. Once it's like, you should make sure it's selected. This is for data bar. We can still have a color scale. So this color scale is going to gray out, or like it's going to give you a gradient. I'm coming. It's going to give you a gradient of like, let's say, why are you always leaving? So let's say this one now, the ones that are, you see, the ones that are completely red is the one that is nearing completion, maybe the one that is 100. Then the one that is 20%, like the color is moving from, I think it's moving from green to red. For this case, you can change the color. So the one that has a deep red shows you that is close to completion. Like this one that is 90 is red. The color moves from, is it uses gradients. The color moves from green, deep green. Let's say we have maybe this one now, we decide to make it 0%. Nothing has been done about it. You find out that the green becomes more intense, more pronounced, and it's moving from green, like the color starts moving, it starts moving from that green to red. You can choose to do it with any other color, like you have the freedom of picking from so many presets. So this other one, we have icons, and inside this icon, anyone that is below is going to start pointing low. The one that is within average, that's within that 50%, will just be on the, like, let's do it and get it. So these are more like ways of doing your visualization without like within your data sets. So this way we see the one that is 50% is just pointing one way, one way. The one that is 80 points up. Anyone that is below this thing points down. And of course, both the color and the direction of our pointer tells us that this is below average. So may looking at this, assuming we have plenty data sets, or let's say we just have up to 100, looking at it, you should be able to visually tell that this is still, this one we have not gone far with this. This one is closer to completion, etc. So you can check this and see more of the options. We have this one that says you can use one that says mark. Once it marks, you know it's completed. Once it's in cancel, so many of them. This one uses bar, just like our how many bars. So those are just visualizations. If uh those are just visualizations. If you are if you see like what is happening there. So now we have still on that conditional formatting, where we now use formula to format.
I want to format. I'm going to select the whole resource sets.
And now start my formatting, but still under conditional formatting, I am going to say new rule. So under this new rule, I'm going to say, why is this blocking me now? Under this new rule, you're going to say use formula. So use formula is where you actually tell it what to format. So I'm going to say where A1. So I want to format for, I want to look for where we have Mike here. Whenever we have Mike here, which is my name, I want to format any row that has Mike here somehow. So this way, I'm going to write a this and say where A1 is equals Mike. So this is how to enter text, double quotes, not single quote like we did in this thing, in SQL. So once you click on formats, it will now give you the option to do exactly what we've been doing. Like we can say our fonts should now be, we can choose a different font, make it bold, make it on fonts. We can choose our fonts. maybe fill it up with this. This is our font color. And if that should be our font color, then we should have a different fill. We can fill with this, but if we are filling with that, that's not going to show. So you basically do exactly what we've been doing before. Format it however you want to format it. You can give a border wherever we have, you can give a border, but it's only going to be applied when we have our A1 as what? As Michael. So you say, okay, why is this not applying? Nope. Okay, so you're going to set new rules. Use formula. So where A1 is a false, you can change the fonts. Say bold. This is not formatting. I think I'm doing something wrong. There's something I'm not doing well. There's something I'm not doing. There's something I'm not doing. All right, so we can forge ahead
Uh,
and leave.
excuse me, sir. I have a suggestion. You are saying you are calling cell A1, not
Yeah.
our cell A1 from our sheet is empty. So I think maybe
Okay.
your it's not going because we should be calling A6
Okay.
or something.
Okay. Yeah. 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 Let's try that. A6. Yeah. 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 It's starting from this. Yeah. And
Yeah.
there's a reason why. There's a reason we are using that. It's. I think so. Mm, that was a new rule. Let me just do something very simple. A1 course. Okay. I'm still doing that same mistake. Sorry. That's A6 equals this. And, let's format this. Let's just do this and check if that happens. Okay, we can leave it for now and come back to that later. We can leave it for now and come back to that later. So just think around that. Think around formatting. Learn how to make your this visually appealing, and we'll get into some interesting stuff now. So now we know how to write our formula, because what I actually wanted to treat today is that formula, how to write formula. But I should be able to get that conditional formatting. So maybe before we dismiss, I should have gotten it. And now let me show you something. For the formatting, you can save a format, like, when we got here, we started formatting it. And if I ask myself or any other person to do this again, chances are I'm going to make a lot of mistakes. Like, I'm not going to give us perfectly what we have here. So there's a solution to that. Let's say you want to have a consistent formatting for all your sheets. Maybe you're working for a company and you like having your headings appearing like this, and then maybe your numbers appearing somehow. So what you can do is to come to styles. maybe you select this, or let's use this as an instance. You come to styles. If you look at styles, we have some presets. This one is saying we have some presets. You can just look at them like title, heading, heading one, heading whatever. So if you want to format your headings as headings, you can simply always highlight them and format as heading. So when you come to style, you can say format this as H1. It will format it as H1. But if you want to have your own style, like we already have a list that Microsoft gives us, all you need to do is just to apply any of them on your selection. It comes. So with that, if I still prepare the same data elsewhere and I want to have my headings appear like this, I can simply go to that this thing and select exactly what I selected before. It will give me what I wanted. But now, what if I want to alter it and have my own presets? So you still come to your style and now click on new style. So once you click on new style, it will give you all these options depending on what you want to style. If you don't want to style the field, you can uncheck it. If you don't want to style the border, you can uncheck it. So you are customizing your own preset that you're going to set, and you click on. So here is where you give it a name. Maybe I want to say my custom. I can say custom style. I can say custom style. Now you click on format. So all this gives you like all the properties you want to format. You can now say formats. So with this now, I think I should move it so we'll be seeing with this now, you can choose the fonts you want. Like there's a particular font I like using, which is mm. So you can select these fonts that I want, then make it bold and maybe make it 14 and say okay. Then say okay. So this way now I already have my own style. Maybe that my company or whoever I'll be using. Each time I want to style my numbers, I'll come and select them, go to style, and choose that where's that? It should appear here. Someone should help me locate it. So once we select that custom, it's like it appeared there. Once we select that custom, it gives us our formatting that we gave it. So that way, even if I'm creating anything tomorrow or next tomorrow, I don't need to start tinkering again. I'll simply come to my style. We already know how we present our numbers. So you just style it anyhow you want and apply it. You can also change it to look differently by still coming to your style, right click on this, then modify. So once you modify, it still gives you all these options. You go ahead and say, okay, I want it to now be 12 and say, okay. So once you say, okay, it affects wherever, because that way, once you do it, it's available to all the sheets on this workbook, but it's not available outside. Like if I create a new workbook, that my styling won't be there, but you can copy it over. And as we move on, I'll show you how to copy a style from one booklet to another booklet. So that way you're able to have a consistent styling for both your heading, your numbers, and etc. Because you can do exactly what I did. Or maybe you do another new one. You can say new set style. You give it another name. I can say my heading, custom heading, and select format. So from that format, you now maybe you want your heading to always appear as you choose a font you want. I think I've seen the one I used to like. You want it to always appear as this, and it should always be 16. So you save it. You can also do the fill. Maybe you give it a different fill color, and this is the color. There should be one for fill. You come to fill, take your time, and if I let me fill as this, and the border, no, not border fonts. If I fill as that, this should be lighter. Then say okay and okay. So whenever you want to do your headings, you simply reference your, maybe I can just select all of these as my headings and reference my, no, that was not that. And always reference your, this. So if you create another sheet, it's as simple as when you want to do your headings, you can say, here you can say January and move all of these. Without wasting your time, you simply come to your style because we know it's heading and apply our distance. So if you have one for, maybe we can just have some random data here. We highlight everything and style it as and you can also format a distance without even so this way we formatted it as number and whatever. So it's a very fast way for you to create a visually appealing distance that is consistent, so that each one you're creating will look, there's you guys are doing the marketing class now, so that, like, the guy is trying to tell you about consistency and branding your distance. So you can brand your fonts, your whatever, have them stored in your Excel. Whenever you're creating anything that is related, you reference it. So that's that. I want us to introduce formulas today. I don't know if there are other, that's conditional formatting. I'll still come back to that. So this way you're able to create your own distance and name it and save it. So let's go over to formulas. I think we've talked, last time we talked about styling, and this other time we are still talking about styling. So we can just name these formulas. Formulas. Let me just have this. So this sheet is all about formula. And maybe on this formula, someone should, let's look for a data that will fit this. A data that will fit this is, okay. I think this is good. This should be good. That data we had before should be good. The data we had before should be good for our formulas. Okay, now look at this. If I want to have, let's say I want to start making sense of that data we have there, and I want to have subtotals for this, I can extend this and say subtotals.
Yeah.
So with these subtotals, I want to start summing what we have here. So what we do, once you want to write formula, you start your formula with an equality sign. So once you say equals, you're telling it you want to write a formula. Number one thing you can do is to start listing all these column addresses. I mean, these addresses. So this is C4. You can say equals C4 plus C. Okay, D4 plus D4 and hit enter. So what this is going to do is it's going to add this to this and give us a result. So we have this is the summation of this and this. The other thing you can do if you don't want to start adding them is to do what? Once you type your equality, you start by highlighting all the places you want it to be equal to. Nope. Of course, we are going to use a function which is sum. So once we say sum, you can be doing exactly what I did. You can be doing This equals, you highlight this, use plus, do plus again. So what I'm doing, I'm not typing the address. I'm just clicking on each of those cells, and Excel is typing it in for me. So once you've done this, because what we've written is a relative, like all these addresses are relative, you can pull down this to fill up. So once you do this, the formula does what? The formula fills all those stuff for you. So I don't know, do we understand what I've done? Let's get it right from here, because we are going to write some advanced formulas. What I did, this is C, this is C what? C4, right? This is C, D4, E4. So here, I'm just summing all of them together. I'm just doing C4 plus D4 plus E4 plus F4 to give me, like, I'm adding this plus this plus this plus this to give us what we have here. Now, because we have a relative, I don't know if I've messed this up. Because we have a relative address for each of them, I can put this down and it will auto fill. What happens is once we move here, it will start filling for this. Once we move here, it will start filling for this. Once we move here, it will start filling for this. So now let me ask, what's the difference between relative addresses and absolute addresses? An absolute address does not change. A relative address changes. In this case, all we have written are relative addresses. So address of these is called C1. So if I want this to be absolute, I'm going to start with a dollar sign. I have a dollar sign in between. No. I'm going to start with a dollar sign. I have a dollar sign in between. So this way, what we have is this figure in exacts, like it's not changing. The address remains the same. And if you do exactly what we've done before, which is pulling all of this down, you find out that it's not changing. It gives you exactly the same value. So what is that? What happens is this, once you have a dollar sign, it's telling it must be on C column. And this dollar sign before for means it must be on C row. So if you remove this will still give us the same value. But now, what dollar sign is telling us is what we are picking must be on C column, but this can change. So that means if we have this entered and we put this value this way, something changes. I'm coming. Why is it changing? I'm coming. Okay, what happened? C is constant. So the column is constant and the row can change. So if you put this, because the column must be that column, it doesn't change, it remains here. But what if we have this as a variable and fix this? If we have this as a variable and fix that, I want you to get this point because it will help us a lot. If I have the column varying, I will fix the distance. You find out that once I move here, the value changes. So what's happening? What's happening is that I have the row is absolute. That means it must be on row 4, but the column is not absolute. So here, if you write this kind of formula, we moved 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to pick 1, 2, 3, 4 and fill in here. If we move again, from here now, relative to this cell, it is going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's why we landed at 7, 1. I don't know if we are getting this point. If I still move this again, because that's this thing, because the column is variable, it's going to do what? It's going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's why we are now having 86350 here. Did we get that, or we have a question about that?
I don't understand this part. Please, can you
Okay.
reiterate it? Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Now, I said when it comes to writing formulas, we've not gone deep. We are just trying to lay down foundations. We know what's the address of this cell. This one I highlighted. Can you just like what's the address of this cell I highlighted? Now I want to be sure you are getting what we are doing. This is the active cell. What's the address? Okay, can only
78,900.
the address
It's
is not
G11.
70,
Oh,
it's
sorry,
G11.
yeah,
Yeah.
G.
So any cell that is active, you can look at this name box. The name box tells us what it is. Otherwise, you can inspect it up and also inspect
Okay,
it right. Yeah. So
okay,
now we have G10. We are on G10 or G10. You can look it up from here. Here we have H10. Here we have whatever. Now, in order to write our formula, this is what we have here. When we have C4, enter. What this is telling us is C4 relative to this cell, this is G4, right? Relative to this cell, C4 is how many? This is C4, right? C4 is how many steps away from this our G4? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, right?
yes.
Okay, so when you say C4, is going to the value of this G4 becomes the value that is contained in this. And I said this is not an absolute address, it's a relative address. What makes it relative is that it changes because we have not fixed it. This same value now that is giving us 7,8, if you enter, what we have is 7,8, right? But
Mm-hmm.
this same value, let me clear this. Let me clear all of this. This same value, if we copy that formula to this point, remember it's counted 1, 2, 3, 4. If we now move it this way, it's going to count what? Relative to this, it's going to still count 1, 2, 3, 4. So this way, the value is no longer 78 because when we are on G column, it is 4 spaces, it is 4 steps away from it, which is this 7, 8. If we move further,
Mm-hmm.
from this point, it's going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. That's why we have 71. If we move
Okay.
further,
Hello,
yeah,
sir.
the more you, yeah,
Let's do it with C5.
okay, C5. This is C5, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. How do you want us? We should do exactly the same thing, right?
On G5, yeah. Wait, let's do it on G5.
Okay, so let me clear all of this. Okay, for this now, we are on the 5, right? For this now, we can say equals, and we say C4, right? It was C4 now, and hit enter.
C5.
No, C5. Let's do C5.
Okay. So for this, we can say equals C5 and enter.
No. I'm talking about the place where you have 78,900 now. On
Okay, this.
G5, we should
Okay,
G5.
okay.
Number.
Coming. Here, you want here, right?
No. Next one. Next
Here,
cell below.
this.
No, left. Yes. C5.
Okay, equals C5. Enter. So C5 is this now. So this takes the value of C5, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is yeah. But I'm telling you that the address we wrote is dynamic. Like this address is not absolute. If you move this, what it does, it's counted. C5 tells it to count 1, 2, 3, 4 to this point and pick the value. If you now do that our dragging to this point, this will now count because this one counted 4. This one is not going to give you exactly the same value. It's going to count 1, 2, 3, 4.
Mm,
If you move
okay.
it further, yeah, This one now we count 1, 2, 3, 4. We are now having this. I don't know if you see how it's changing. So this kind of address, we call them relates. Okay, so you wanted to
Yes.
say something.
I asked you to move to C5 so that we will not.
Oh, I don't want this. Hello,
Like the
mommy.
C5.
Mommy, I'm in class. I'll call you, ma.
Hello?
Hello? Hello? Hello? Hello?
Yeah.
We
Hello,
can
can you hear
hear you,
me?
sir.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
I thought you were talking to somebody. So
Yeah, someone
if you
called
are
me and that was, I'm coming. I
okay.
think once this happens, it stops recording.
Oh,
Yeah, let me record again. Where is that record? So you can be saying what you're saying. Okay,
okay.
still
So I said
recording.
that I asked you to move to C5 so that there won't be confusion on moving to um, 4 spaces to the left, and it will be
Yeah,
assumed that because we were on row 4, so that
yeah,
what you are trying to say is that the value you created picked a number that was 4 spaces before it. And so
yeah,
anywhere you move towards the right, if you have not locked it, it will be selecting the same condition that it had. So
yeah,
that's why I said you should move to C5 so that we are
yeah,
not just confused that maybe we are moving 4 spaces to the left because we are on row 4.
yeah. Okay, so that's not why. It's just 4 spaces because relative to this cell, we have 4 spaces. So from here, you can reference that referencing, like here, we can still reference equals. Here, we can reference, this is C4. We can reference C4 here and enter. Now, what happens is if you still move this, that relative distance T counts. This one is now going to count 1, 2, because this is C4. This was our C4 now, right? C4 is here. It's going to count 1, 2, 3, and now this. So when you move this is 71. Not like when you move it, it will come and now count this. It's following that distance. It will go and count on that place. It will count up and count this way to give us what we want. You still move it further. I just want you guys to get this concept because it will help us a lot. So that's how it works. Now, in order to lock it, because like I said, they are relative addresses. If you don't want it to be relative, if you don't want it to be variable, you can either lock the row or you lock the column. To lock the row, you do what? Like here we have C4. If you want to lock the row, you just use a dollar sign to lock the row. You know, row is always the number. If you also want to lock the column, like with this now, if you run this, okay, there's no equality. With this now, we are still having the same 78, but we have C, we are locking this thing. If you move this down, what do we have? 78, 78, 78. Why are we having that? Because I locked the row. I locked the row. It's not supposed to be. I locked the row, right? So it's on the same row. I locked the row. The column is by variable. Yeah. So it's giving us what it's supposed to give us because I've locked the row. I'm saying it must be on this row. So here we are having the same row. Here we are having the same row. Here we are having the same row. You can also lock the column. Locking the column, when you do this, you are now locking the column and leaving this variable. So if I do this kind of stuff and I try to pull down, you find out that the value now varies. I don't know if we got what we are doing. I'm saying the column must be on column C. So this way now, because I've locked the column, if you move this way, it's still giving you the same distance because the column is not varying. No matter how far you move it, it will remain on column C because we locked that column with this dollar sign. But the row, if you click on this now, what's this? This is now C5. This is now C6. This is now C7. Because the row part is variable. Like we have not locked the row parts, but we have locked the column parts. I don't know if we'll get it. If you want everything to be absolute, like there should be no change wherever you move it, you put this dollar sign again and enter. So with this now, everything will give us a constant. Whether you move this way or you move that way, it's going to give us exactly the same thing. Do we understand what we are doing? It is crucial that we get these points now because we are going to be doing a lot of things with it. Do we understand it?
Yeah. Okay. This locking of column and row. Must it be done with a dollar sign?
Yes, sir. That's the syntax.
Okay, okay. So something like other currency sign, it cannot go.
Yes, sir. It can't go. It's just that dollar sign.
Like Naira cannot lock it.
No,
I'm joking.
Naira can't do it.
It's all
Yes,
right.
sir.
It's all
Thank
right.
you, sir. So
Okay.
now it's important. That locking is important, and I'm going to show you where it comes to play. This is not how I like writing my own formulas, so I'm going to clear all of these. I'm going to clear them, and we go. So in order to calculate, why I was just doing all those illustrations, is in order to calculate this, we are going to do what? Sum. We can use a function called sum, just like we had in our distance. Sum, open and close. You can select everything here and add, no? Sum of all of these. Okay, I've forgotten my equality. That's why it's not responding. So you just say sum of everything and it sums them together. Enter. So with this now, you see this sums, okay, this sums everything within this range. When you have a column separating two cells, what it means is range. Like C4 column F4 means everything between C4 and F4. So it's a range. And if we take a sum, it is going to sum everything within the range. That's what this function does. This function, when you feed it a range, like that's when you feed it a list of numbers, it's going to add them together and return the value. So for this, we can either use sum or we can be adding them together for ourselves. We can say equals this plus this plus this plus this, and we have our value. So in order to enjoy that our relative function, I told
The same row. If you move this, it will count this for its own row. That's why we are having this kind of like for this now. If you check the formula for this, you now see this is C5 plus D5 plus E5 plus.
now becomes this now becomes C6 plus D6 plus E6 plus F6, and this becomes what? The same thing. So these are relative, like they are variables. As you move down, they will keep changing. If you still move down with this, it will give you null because nothing is there. But if you check the formula that is giving you, see this one is on row 8, it's giving us that 8, 9, whatever. So that's how it happens. That means if you enter some value here, it will immediately reflect because there's already a formula accounting for that. It will reflect. So I don't know if we'll get that. Did we get that about, I don't know, the ladies are not talking and I don't want you to get lost this early.
Yeah,
The ladies, are you?
Yeah, with you.
Okay. Now, if you look at this, you find out that this is kind of ugly. This is kind of ugly, like for us to be writing a C5, D5, this. So I'm going to introduce one concept that we call variables. Declaring a variable. What's a variable? A variable is just a name that you throw a value into. Like if I decide that this value is 90 and I enter, you know, this value is on what? The name of this value is what? C10, right? This is C10. But I can come to this place and say my variable and enter. So whenever you reference this, it's going to give you my variable. So if I now come here, maybe, okay, let me, because the variable, you can change what you have there. I can still now come and now say, okay, let me have 0.7, 0.07 here. So this becomes 0.07, and I don't want this to be formatted as, I don't want that formatting. I can remove this and put it in general. So we have a general there. So now the advantage of using a variable is you can reference it anywhere. Like I can come down and do some maybe 7, 8, 6, 5, 9, 0. And here I want to say equals my variable multiplied by maybe this and enter. So this calculates that, like naming your variables makes it, because in other times you have to scroll down and inspect and be sure that you are on this you're on this C10, right? That you're on C10, you come and copy it. But if you name your variables, you can move to any points, anywhere, far left, far down, and enjoy this your variable. So what did I do to get that variable? I simply did what? Clicked on this name distance and changed what I had there. So now let's do one that will enjoy. So what this does, what we have been able to do is that we calculated subtotals for each of our cells in all of them. So to calculate all of them, we can use our sum, or we can just sum all of these together. So this we can say equals what? We can use our sum of all of these and close that. So that sums everything together for us. That is one. Secondly, like I said, we can enjoy those our variables. Let's say, let me do something that gives us a variable. Let's say someone should give me a data that we might need to be having. Okay, let's say sales for let's say we want to have items. Here we can have items. I'm proposing another. We can have items. We have okay. Let's say we have items. We have let's say we want to have cells too. Let's still use cells. Or for each of these cells, I want us to tax to pay tax on or commission on each of these cells for each of the subtotals. We can just say commission. We want to calculate their commissions. So when we say commission here, And we have fixed our commission. Let's say our commission, where is that place I declared? I think I declared a variable somewhere. We don't have any. Okay, so let's say we want to have a variable somewhere here. We can just say commission rates. We can just say our commission rate should be 0. Let's say 0.03% for the commission rate. And we name this as commission rates. Commission rates. So now for each of these, we are going to do what? Equals this multiplied by our commission rates. So once we hit enter, it gives us exactly how much we are going to pay for commission. And we can drag this down again to get us our commission rates. So this way, we can decide to change our commission rates without changing all of this. You know, if you don't declare a variable, that means even if we have 1 million rows of data, each time you want to calculate, you have to start calculating them one after the other. But if I want to change the commission rate and have that recalculated, I can just come and say our commission rate is now 5 and enter. With that, this immediately recalculates by itself because I can say we want to have 0.2 commission rate. It adjusts immediately. So if you have to be doing them, let's say we have up to, let's say, even 100 rows of data, and I have to start doing this calculation one after the other, entering this value one after the other, you see it's error prone. It's very likely that maybe here I'm going to write 0.2 and go. So it will be giving us a wrong data. But if you declare a variable somewhere, you can easily adjust the variable and your commission rates adjusts immediately. Did we get this part of declaring a variable? Now that we've declared a variable, there's one other thing I want to show you, which is how to manage your variable. This our variable is valid within this workbook. That means if I come here and I say equals commission rates, we'll still have the same value that we fixed there. If I move to another workbook, another worksheet, anywhere I say equals commission rates, so that is kind of consistent across the workbook. But now there's something we can do about that. We can also decide that this is local. There's something we call global and local variables. So when we say global variables and local variables, we're just talking about, like, someone can say this is a local champion. That means he's a champion in their community or their village. So when we have a local variable, it's a local champion. That means it is only that in where it belongs. Like for this booklet, we can decide that this our commission rate is only available in this place. So it is local to this booklet. I mean, to this sheet. So in order to manage that, we do what? We come home. We move to formulas. There's the place we have this place that says name manager. So this name manager, if you come to name manager, you can define name. You can define a new name, and maybe I want to define a new name some other place, because declaring it from here gives you the flexibility of this scope is where we change the scope. That scope is what we call that local or global variable. So if you make it a workbook, if you leave it as workbook, that means it is serving everything for many sheets we create. That is going to be valid, and that's the case for that one we created here. It's going to be valid across all books. But if you change the scope to now, let's say formatted, we want to just have it in formatted, you still give it name. We can now say new variable. And you can give a comment to describe what the variable is doing for you. Then you say okay. So that way, any value you assign here, let's say we assign 3 here and enter. Of course, anywhere we reference equals new variable, this is valid. We'll be using them in calculation, but if you move away from that distance and now say equals new, you see it's not valid. It's not showing us anything. So if you come and say new variable, it's not seeing it. Another way to see all your variables, all the variables that are declared, is from your name this thing. Let's clear this and come to our. If you click on this drop down list, it's supposed to give you everything that all the names variables. So this is not seeing it because it is local to formatted. Once we are in formatted, we say equals new. It shows up, but outside that, it's not seeing it. So I don't know if you guys get the concept of local and the global variables. So this is not seeing it. So it is giving us a name error. Do we get this concept? Hello? We are not talking. Did we get the concept of local and the global? It's very simple. If it is local, if we declare it as local from here, it becomes a local. And if you want to change the scope of any variable you've declared, you still come to name manager, click on any of them. We have commission rates. These are all the variables we've declared. We have this, we have this. So if you click on this, you can edit the variable. So when you now edit the variable, for that one that we declared that way, we might not be able to change this thing. You can change the name, you can change the value, because in this place we are just pointing it to point to a distance. We can also declare, so you can change where it points to, maybe from here that the say refers to, you can say equals another column or another cell. You can also decide to declare a new variable that is not visible even in the worksheet. Like if we don't want people to know how we are calculating our commission rate or be seeing it visible as what we are setting it, we can decide to just declare a new variable from our name manager and say new. We can say, what do we call it? New commission. And maybe we can leave it at global and just say this commission rate is now equal to 0.012 and say okay. So wherever we reference this new commission, that value will come. We'll see that value, which is this, and we can use that in calculation. But that way, it's not visible to our, we are not seeing that, nobody's seeing it on our worksheet. And this is how most people do their work. Like if you click on this, you just see this multiplied by commission rates, or maybe multiplied by new commission, but you won't be seeing how they are setting that their new commission. They can control it anytime with that. So with this, we can still pull down. I want you to ask me some questions. I want you to ask questions if you have. You don't have any question? Okay. Someone wanted to ask. I want you to ask questions. Okay, now I want to show you another trick, which is a very nice thing. If you don't want to, let's say we remove our, I want to delete these two columns or just clear them. Let me clear their value. Let me say, I'm clearing. I want to do some other stuff. Now, let's say item. We have items, price. I will now have a bicycle. Why is this? I don't. That's nothing. I'm coming. So let's say we have items and we have price. We have bicycle, and we say our bicycle is let's say 2,000 or 20,000. We have helmets. Helmet. Is it helmet or I think it's helmet, right? This way, right? We have helmet should be around the 12,000.
No, HEL,
Okay, HEL, like hell.
helmet.
Okay, so whatever it is, we can leave that. HEL, right? This way. Okay, yeah, I think it's this way. So that is 12,000. And what else do we need? Boots. We can say boots should be around the 13,000. And what next? Okay, now, so this is a list. I really don't want to go into, you guys know how to format them now. Now, from this list, if I want to create name for them, what name should I give this, if I may ask? And what name should I give this? So for this value, what name do you think I should give it? I can say bicycle, helmet, etc. So you can name all of these. Let's say you can name all of these by still coming to your name manager. No. Define name. No, it's not there. Okay, create from selection. So when you click on create from selection, it's going to create names from what you've selected, and this is the default. If you allow this top and left marks, but I don't really need that top, it will create some names, but you're not going to see those names. But what happens is when you click on this, that name box tells you that this is now bicycle, this is now helmet, this is now boots. Note that this is not boots, this is D16, this is D15, this is whatever it is. But the values, because normal, what we are looking for is these values that we want to work with. So this way, this has created those variables for us and assigned them the name that are sitting just adjacent to them. If you click on this, if you select all of these, because we selected top, this is going to name all of these as words. All of these are going to name price. No, it's naming it item, not what I want. So did you get the concept? Because we'll be working with things like this. Let me do that again. Let me do that again. All these are names. All this, like this list now, I want to name this list. Like ordinarily, if I want to name all these items, I can name this bicycle, bicycle price, helmets, and boots price. If I want, but if I want Excel to do that for me, I can select everything together, then go to name manager, go to create from selection, allow this top row. I've deleted all those things and say okay. So once you say okay, it creates it like silently, it creates all of these. This is now named bicycle. This is now named helmet. This is now named boots. And you can do whatever you want to do with these values. When you click, if you want to now know how many names are available, when you click on any of these, you drop down this list, you see all of these are available. Or you can just do F3. F3 will bring out the list. You can paste all of them so they become visible to you. And you widen this part so that you know what it's referencing. So now this is telling us that this is on format book sheets, and this is this value, like all these values. It gives us all the values. Bicycle is referencing E, and now they are absolutes. It's referencing uniquely to this. This is referencing uniquely to this. This is referencing uniquely to this. Do we get that part? This idea of variables. I don't know if we have been somehow silent on. I don't want that.
No, for me, I get it. That is why I'm quiet.
The
Okay.
last part. The last part.
Yeah, any part you don't get, always ask, because okay, so the last part is just when you write a list. When you write a list of items with prices and you want to give them you want to name the variables, you simply select all of them, all the variables you want to name, come to your name manager and create from selection. Once you create from selection, it is going to create those things silently for you. Once you do create from selection and say okay, it creates variable names for you silently, naming whatever the name you have adjacent to it. So this works well. Like with this now, ESL now names this value bicycle, this value becomes helmet, this value becomes boots. You can also go back to name manager to change what we have. So with this now, I don't want that as bicycle. I can edit it. The name becomes bicycle price and say okay. So this way, I've changed that to bicycle price. And whenever I type, anywhere I type bicycle price equals bicycle price, that value is produced. You will get it when you try to create them yourself. Like just try, don't try and create time for this and practice some of them, especially on these formulas, because we'll be going deeper with them. So now with what we know, we can select all of these and let me remove this. I want to clear these two, their value, and get something else for it. So here, I want to use the same method we had to name our, I want to create from name. So once you create from name, those things are created. Look at what happens. If you create from name, the whole of this place, this is not, this is not. What happens is everything within this range becomes not. So once I select all of this and leave, you see it's now not. If I select everything within here, sorry, it becomes what? South. If I select everything within here, it becomes what? East, and this becomes west. But that's not all. If I select everything within here, it becomes what? Quarter one, quarter two. Like it's already named them. Those variables are already there. Quarter three, quarter four. So why am I showing you all these strategies? All these strategies are good when you want to start writing clean code. This way now we can say some, and supply it what? Not. It sums everything within not. So anyone working through our worksheets, once you click on this and it tells you sum of knots, is cleaner, like it's more intuitive, telling the person that okay, sum of everything within knots, the knots row, than writing what we wrote before. You know, before we used to write equals what's the C was C4 plus C, like all of those, you get the point. C4 plus D4 plus E4 plus F4. So that's what we got before. And we drag this down to give us what we had. But with what we've done, now we've calibrated our whatever we did, and we now have some names. So instead of writing this, because this is not that intuitive, C4, D4, E4, they are fine, like it can give you, but if you want to write more professionally, you just do something like equals sum. Anyone looking at it understands what you're doing more. Sum of what? Not. Because this range is called not, this other one is called this is called this. Do we get it? The disadvantage is if you can't do this again. If you do this, what happens? It just gives you exactly what you had there. Exactly what you had there, like you're seeing it. So for each of them now, you are going to do some words. So a lady should tell me what, if I want to
Some with their
get,
names.
yeah, so that means you're getting what we are saying. Some south, right?
Sum all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now you're referencing like the names are a bit more meaningful than what it used to be before. The same thing.
It's resisted with the name of the column.
Yeah. But you can also change with this name manager, you can manage all you have. You can change that northwest and whatever you want to however you want to have them. So this now becomes some of all of these, right? So anyone working around your workbook, yes, it's more intuitive. The whole of this range, this is now a named range, not a named variable. This is also a named range, and this is also a range. So how about I want to reference this value? If I want to reference
How,
this value, what? Yeah, I wanted to say something.
how about when you want to subtotal the G, like the G3 to G7? You know,
You
they
can,
have different name. So
yeah,
now you want to sum all together under.
you just sum
Is
it.
it not going to give you restriction?
No, it's not giving us any restriction. You can just say equals sum. You do this.
Okay.
So this sums everything. Look at what it does. G4 to G7. You know, we've not named all of this, so we can also name them depending on how you want to work. And this is also another range. All of this is called something too. Okay, didn't name it. So we might want to name this. If you didn't name it, we can name it ourselves. You can just say define name. You give it a name. So that name is this range. That's C4 to uh, F7. This F7. So everything within my selection, you can name them to be anything. So that when you do that, I can just say all my entries as a name and say okay. So this way, if I want to sum everything together, just like I did, I can say sum of all my entries. And that should give me exactly what I had before because it sums everything together. So basically today, I've introduced you to how to write formula, how to start formula, how to declare your variables using either you can declare it yourself, either from here, or use a define name, then do whatever I want to do that. I've also shown you how to define constants, and I've shown you how to define constants. I've also shown you how to, I've shown you all the things I've shown you anyway. So now there's one operator I want to show you. One operator is the range operator. Like when we have something like this, if we have these equals, remember you can always hold this down to help you and write whatever you want. So this is equals this. Mhm. Let me use some for it. There's a reason I'm using that, but you can do otherwise. So what this is doing, when you use column, you're writing a range. What it means is everything that falls within this range, that is between C1 and between C4 and G4, qualifies to be within this our list. But what if I want to select beyond one row or beyond one column? You select this up to this point, and now say, once I say equals, I still want to use sum, but you can do otherwise. It can fill out everywhere. Equals sum. You select all of these. So this range is everything that falls. Mm, mm, mm. Okay, because we've named that, we've named this before. So it's calling that name we gave it because that's exactly what we just selected. I want it to be everything that falls within this. So this is now a range on itself too. But what this range is counting is the beginning of this range is C4, which is this. The end of this range is E8. So it's going to count everything that falls within this block. This is E6. This is C4. So everything that falls within this block belongs to this range. So when we do this kind of sum, it's going to sum all of them. So what I'm just trying to point out is that this column is called a range operator. Column is called a range operator. Then comma is called the what? We use it as list. It's called a union operator. It's called a union operator. So when I say equals sum of these, we enjoy all of these, comma. This is going to union everything together. So what did we do? Union now, from our set, when we treated sets, this is a set, right? This is a set comprising of this, another set. When we use comma, what comma does is it brings everything together. It unions them and gives us our value. That column gives us a what? A range. Like whenever you have this, it's telling you everything between this and this. Anything you see between this range and this range is valid. This is this. Now, the other one you might be interested in is the intersection operator. Intersection operator is what? Space. So if I want to find, this from here, we have this as a set, right? This is a set, right?
Mm.
And it's called east. And this is a set. It is called what? This set is called what? Quarter. Let's remove this. This is the set that is called quarter, right? It's called quarter 3. If you want to find their intersection, what do we do? Their intersection becomes, this is the intersection now where they cross, right? How am I doing this? So what is the intersection? What do they have in common? The two range. This, this, it has this should be E6, right?
Yeah.
It has
Oh,
E6 in common. So if we want to
yeah.
reference this, we can say equals east intersection quarter 3. I will say enter. So you see the value is returning. East space is the intersection operator. East intersection quarter 3 gives us this value here. So let's not do too much so that you don't forget what we are doing. To start a formula, use equality sign. You can declare a variable like we did here. This is a variable and give it a name. To declare a variable, just go to wherever you want to have it. You can enter a value and change the name of that variable from what it used to be to another thing. It becomes that. Once you hit enter, that becomes that. So anytime we click this, it gives us that. Otherwise, you can use this name manager, like this name manager, either define a name, and when you define a name, you can now control the scope. The scope is, do you want it to be valid within the workbook, or you want it to be valid in just a worksheet? Like we can have it in unformatted and all those ones. So that way it is local or global to this worksheets. Then we have also explained the concept of uh, absolute and relative addresses. And we have discussed how we can name our what's it called, ranges, both up and down, either using creating this. Of course, you can still select anything you want to select and manually create that variable. But if you want to allow Excel to do it for you, you just select everything together. But Excel will now give you the name exactly what you have here and what you have here for each of them. So you can create your distance. Now we also talked about three operators. One is the intersection operator. The other one is the union operator. Okay, someone wants to ask a question. Someone wants to ask. So find time and practice all of these. We'll be using them extensively. This one is beautiful. Space is our intersection. That's what we have in common. So this way, I think we like looking at this formula is better this way than writing the address of this or whatever. Is better because this tells us the value for quarter 3, the value we have in east. So it's more intuitive than writing this is equals a what value was that? That's the e e6. Even tracing it myself, I struggle with tracing it because I have to start looking at it. So if we can just name our distance, we can write some intuitive uh, east intersection quarter 3. So it becomes intuitive. We can do same for the rest of other values. So ask your questions if you have your questions, if you have questions. Otherwise, we can call it a day. And I want you to help me. Please practice this. Find time and practice it. Because if you don't, then our usage of Excel will just be limited to maybe being able to style, make things look good. You can't be able to make sense out of your data. The power of spreadsheets is that formula we are going to be writing. And I'll be doing a lot of this. All this naming, I'll be using both constants, variables, and range names to do our calculation more than using the A1 addresses. So I want you to practice what we've done. If possible, watch the video so that when we'll be doing what we'll be doing, we won't be confusing you. Confusion only always comes when you miss a vital information somewhere along the line. So when we now use it, it will look to you like we are doing something else. Just try practicing it. I'll upload this video at the end of today's class. Ask questions if you have any. Or should I ask mine?
Yes.
Should I ask?
Yes.
We don't have questions. That means we understand everything we've done now.
Mm. Yeah, we're following, but when we watch it again, I think we understand much better.
Yeah. So try and watch them. I don't want to write complex formulas for now. I want us to. So now let me ask a question. Can someone explain to me the difference between relative and absolute addresses? We have also partially the one we used to fix one side and vary the other side. That one is partial. So can anyone explain the three of them for me? The difference. And before I forget, let me also show you this now that I've remembered it. If you want to enter a formula, let's say we have equals, and I want to reference C. Let's say I want to reference C5. You can press F4. What I did was to press F4. So F4, we change it to absolute. You press F4 again. It will fix one side and vary the other side. You press F4 again. It will fix the other. Like pressing F4, we cycle between all the possible addresses. It will give you an absolute address at first. Okay, it will give you a relative address. F4 again will give you an absolute address. If you press it again, so there are some cases you might need to use that to rotate within. Otherwise, you can type it yourself. So someone should explain absolute addresses. Yeah. Then some other person will explain to me variables, declaring variables, and the importance of using variables. You can try, so we go.
I'm going to talk about the variables because that's what I that's what I really got.
Okay.
For the
I did.
variables, it's like from the way I understood you can make use of this variable to like maybe if you are dealing with yeah, if you are dealing with data and there is a specific data which you use most often,
Yeah.
you will not be typing it or you will not take time to type it all the time to type it all the time. So you need to set it as a variable so that
Variable.
you can use it as a relative.
Yeah.
So from the way I understood, you can set a variable for a sheet and you can set it for the whole spread book.
Yeah.
And those are the two types of variable which you have. You can use it in a sheet and you can use it for the whole spreadsheet, for the whole book.
Yeah. Okay. So
And
thank you.
to set
Yeah.
it is just as you showed us from the video. So I don't think I should explain how to set it because everyone
Yeah.
saw it.
Yeah. So another advantage, like the advantage, like you mentioned, typing it all the time is laborious. Another advantage is that it's less error prone. Now we just used it on I think 4 rows or I think 4 rows. But if you have 1 million rows and you have to be typing in 0.1 all the time, or maybe you decide to change your interest rates, you now want to move it from 0.1 to maybe 0.2. That means you have to look them up and change them one after the other. And there's a very good chance that you're doing it, you get tired and now make mistake and add maybe 10. So that calculates wrongly. But when you set as a variable, you only change the value in one place and every other. Like now, if you have 0.2 here or 0.3, our data immediately reflects that. I hope this changed. Okay, we didn't use that again. We didn't use that again. I think we've altered it. So once you change a variable, the value is recalculated immediately without taking in just one place. So that's the advantage. And again, it makes our code or our this thing very, very understandable. Like in this case, when we say some nodes, it's more understandable than saying some A1, comma A2, comma whatever. That is not tidy. This is cleaner. So someone can explain the other concepts. That's a very thank you so much, Mr. Clovis.
Thank you, sir. Thank you as well, sir.
Yeah. So someone can I've forgotten the other concept too. That I say someone should explain. All right. I when you go through the video, you will get it. You will all get what we are trying to say. So we'll come back and write more this and do some analysis on some data. All these ones are just for us to get a feel for how to write formulas. And that's it. Okay, so thank you so much. We'll meet hopefully on Monday, where we'll keep writing formula. We'll spend more time on formulas, then move to visualization, do power queries, etc. Should I give an assignment? You've not done the one we gave before.
We tried doing it though.
Just
I submitted wrong one.
You can give an assignment again. This time I'll make sure I clear time. In fact, I will have time this week since we have.
I've deleted it too.
Okay, you deleted it. Why now?
Yeah, because when you were explaining this, the one you gave us last time, the formula you gave us to do the percentage, you didn't put the last, this today now, you did this by putting equal to at the back. But last time you didn't put it. So when we're working it, we didn't get it. The answer is just giving 0.
Okay, I can't remember what I did then, but there are many ways to kill a rat. Like you can write it in a different way and still get. I can't remember what we did in that video. This
So
was
it
what
was
we
when
had.
you did it again today. So we saw the mistake. Then that's why I deleted it, that I would do it again.
You shouldn't have deleted it. You should have left it. So that's it. Okay, now try to model this kind of data, something that looks like this. Think of any other thing. It could be weekly, like here we have quarterly. Yours could be weekly. You can just summarize your weekly sales, then across
Be giving us the data
regions.
to work on, like the way you did before. It's okay. We'll do that one again. Then you can give us another one again.
Okay, so just get your hand dirty. Do this, but this for this now where we have this, do it for weekly. We should have Monday.
I
Here you
can't
should
hear
just have.
you.
Someone is speaking in the background. This is not the person. So what you can do for me is this. Where we have quarterly.
Ah,
Who is this person now? Where we have quarterly. Let me quickly exactly this. Do exactly this, but declare a variable. Okay, I'll type what you do for me. I'll type what you do for me. Then also, whatever you're doing, format it to look neat. You saw the difference between a formatted this one and the one that is not formatted. So formatted, I will type the question and give to you that you summarize for me, and try and also do this. Use variables. What you're going to submit to me is not submit a workbook. Don't screenshot and send for me. Just save this work and send to me. I will now check it so that I'll be able to see if you declared variables where you're supposed to declare variables. Don't submit a screenshot like I did. So if we should try and do this one, try and do it. You can do the first one, but try and do this one. Now, the one we are writing formula, if you don't do it and get what we are doing, subsequent classes, you'll be asking too many questions, and it could be annoying when you are asking something that is already taught because you did not do your own part. Yeah.
yeah, but help us to send the recording on time.
I'll send it tomorrow. I forgot the other one. I used to get somehow busy. I'll send it tonight, hopefully, or tomorrow. I'll send it.
Okay.
So thank you, and let's meet hopefully on Monday.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you so much, sir. Thank you for all the efforts. Like you
Thank
really
you. God bless you.
taking us to another level. Thank you so much, sir.
Well, I
Really
will take you to
appreciate
thank
another
you,
level
sir.
too now. All right,
Yeah.
thank you. Bye bye. Yeah.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you, sir.
Okay.